Marvel and Kevin Feige are about to reboot the Fantastic Four for the third time on the big screen. And well, to celebrate this fantastic occasion,
say that again?
Get ready to hate that meme by the end of this review. I thought, why not go ahead and look back at the past 3 theatrically released Fantastic Four movies, from Fantastic Four 2005, Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, and the infamous Fan Four Stick. These are all 3 movies that have terrible reviews, and a majority of people call these the worst comic book movies ever made. I think that's a bit of a stretch. See what I did there? Yeah. But whatever the case, please hit that like button. Comment down below how much you love the fit, because, I mean, come on, man. You could see me just aura farming in New York City as everybody's dying around me. But let's just go ahead and hit play with Fantastic Four from 2005. Right off the top, I have no idea how people hate the early 2000s Fantastic Four movies. As a kid, absolutely loved them. As a grown adult, I still love these movies. I thought maybe in my rewatch I would catch something that I just wasn't aware of as a little kid enjoying a movie. We've all had that happen. We pop back in something that we thought we loved as a kid, and then you watch it and go, I might have been dumb as a kid. My parents were onto something. But with 2005 Fantastic Four, I truly don't see what's wrong. Of course, it's not a perfect comic book movie. It's got its issues, and I think a lot of the main complaints will be to the characterizations of certain iconic heroes and villains. But if I'm being honest, I think director Tim Story is the closest I have seen any director replicate the Sam Raimi vibes from the early Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. There's one thing I'm gonna do in these old superhero reviews is find a way to bring up Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
See you, chump.
But really, I think that it is the right mix of campy, corny, with a lot of fun, a lot of heartfelt, serious moments. I'm trying to figure out what is the issue. Okay, so the movie opens up with Reed and Ben having to do an interview with Victor Von Doom. Here's maybe where one of the issues comes in with a lot of the hardcore Fantastic Four fans. Reed, in this interpretation, played by Ioan Gruffudd, is a lot more of a humble / oblivious person. Yes, he's really smart, but he's kind of unaware of social cues, especially when it comes to the ladies, like the man fumbled early 2000s Jessica Alba.
Wow. Fantastic.
Say that again?
Ooh, gotta have low IQ to fumble that, buddy. Man sits there point blank in one scene and says, I'm happy you're with another dude.
I'm really happy for you and Victor. I can tell you guys are enjoying what was the best part of our relationship.
I would never be happy. Nowadays, Reed Richards is looked at as more of like a jerk with a heart of gold in the comics. He's so smart, he kind of comes off arrogant or rude sometimes. And I think that's just such a complex part of the character that isn't able to be nailed down, especially now in the MCU when there have been tons of characters like that, with Tony Stark, who can come off arrogant but with a heart of gold. Doctor Strange also has come off rude but with a good heart. To do that once again with another super intellectual being, I don't mind an interpretation where he's just more humble, a good guy, and is just trying to look for his way out in the world. Also, do not let these early 2000 holograms fool you. It's so funny how even then, whenever there were boardroom meetings, there needed to be holograms showing off. Look how high tech our world is, dude. Because this is another big favor into this world. The visual effects for these early 2000 Fantastic Four movies still hold up. Positive will be backed up a lot more in the sequel, but even just looking at this instance, there are very few shots that actually look out of place. I mean, the only one that kind of comes to mind is when Reed is saving someone that fell off a bridge. Yes, you can tell that looks a little off. But coming to the understanding that a person with stretchy powers is always going to look off no matter how big of a budget you have, every other effect, from Johnny going flame on, Sue invisibility, and the choice that even as a kid I kind of hated, but now I fully respect, the Thing just being a practical effect. I'll admit, yeah, dude doesn't look perfect. I do wish he was a little taller, but now I just so dig that. The idea that they were like, no, let's just put him in a suit, have him walk around in it, and it'll be fine. And honestly, it is. In rewatch, it really did not bother me that this is most likely a foam suit and not actual rock material. It gives it that kind of charm, and it let them allocate that budget to other sequences in the film. So heck, I mean, on that topic, let's talk about the other members of the Fantastic Four, because I think this is also the best Fantastic Four cast we have gotten. When we look at the Ben Grimm side of things, Michael Chiklis does the role so well. You have to be able to be a good actor to show emotions through those thick layers of rocky foam skin. And this movie fully lets you lean in to the heartbreak of him turning into the Thing, losing his wife. Like, even after the scene where he's proven to be a hero, saves people, is a good person, even the crowd around him has cheered him on, and his wife leaves the ring behind, is so sad. And even in an era where a lot of comic book movies nowadays would cap off something heartbreaking with a joke, they put more salt on the wound by not even letting him be able to pick up the ring.
I swear to you, I will do everything in my power until there is not a breath left in me. You're gonna be Ben again.
Dude, I love that these movies were able to do that. And that's really what I mean about emulating the Sam Raimi vibe. Sam Raimi was awesome at that, is having moments that were pretty dark, that were sad. And they were never undermined with a joke or tossed off as a gag. They let you sit in those moments.
He's just a kid, no older than my son.
In my rewatch now, that's the thing I most appreciated, is all the Ben Grimm moments. His fight he has with Sue, how he would be okay with having invisibility powers.
We're all in this together, Ben.
Together? Susie, look at me. You got no idea what I'd give to be invisible.
His trip to the bar where he's just trying to grab a drink and he ends up breaking a stool, landing on his butt. Huge kudos to this movie for nailing that part of the story down. When we look at someone like Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, it is still so hilarious to me that Kevin Feige saw and produced these movies. Let's not forget that Kevin Feige is a producer on these early 2000 films. Maybe part of the reason why I just love the vibe of them so much. Kevin knew what he was doing even then, but he saw how great Chris Evans was at playing this full of life, hothead, ladies man kind of dude, and they thought, that's our Captain America. It honestly just shows you the great range and amazing actor Chris Evans is, that he can go from being so believable as Johnny Storm to then equally flipping it around and being someone as honorable as Captain America.
Now picture that, but everywhere.
I can do this all day.
Is that a trick question?
Grow up.
Come on. I'm the only guy who thinks this is cool.
Language.
That was the prototype!
What do we do, Cap? We fight.
I remember being online the day they announced him as Steve Rogers, and I was like, what? I don't think that's right, but shows what I know. But it's not even just that Johnny's portrayal of Johnny Storm is so great in the film. He is also the outlet for the other thing that makes the Fantastic Four so unique in their own right, and it's the celebrityism aspect. We're about to see that also unfold in the newest Fantastic Four movie, but as a kid, I never realized how well they did it in the early 2000s film. That's what made the Fantastic Four in the comics so interesting and popular at the time, is they were heroes that didn't hide their identity or have a double persona or life they were living. They were just open and out that, hey, we're the Fantastic Four. And Johnny is used perfectly in those moments in wanting to be in the spotlight, even being kind of the voice of the audience with like, guys, we went up to space and got powers. Isn't this kind of freaking cool?
Whoa! Look at that lift! That was fantastic!
Say that again?
It also doesn't hurt that a lot of the Johnny moments include beautiful women and a rockin' early 2000s soundtrack. The song I actually would listen to in middle school. I was definitely worried when rewatching that maybe Sue Storm would be what I feared, and that is just eye candy for the male viewers at the time. And while that definitely is there to a degree, especially when showing off the suits for this movie or finding excuses just to have Jessica Alba stripped down, I think there are moments where she is well served in the story, specifically when she fights with like Johnny towards the end of the movie, has like a conversation about their parents and whatnot. That and being so frustrated with Reed that he puts work ahead of their love life. Possibly the weakest material given, but at least there's something more than just, hey, let's get Jessica Alba naked. Watching these movies also reminded me how much I miss a Stan Lee cameo. Ooh, a good Stan Lee cameo will just put a big smile on your face, man.
Welcome back to the Baxter, Dr. Richards. I've got the usual for you. Good to have you back, sir.
And just seeing him pop up just reminds me to warmer, nicer times. If we're looking at the Victor Von Doom side of it, okay, I think that's where a lot or most of the complaints come in. They do their best to try and drop hints to the actual Doctor Doom origin with little mentions of Latveria. Specifically, that's where he like got his Doctor Doom mask from. I guess it was just too much work to like build up this idea that he's from another country, living there, is so smart that he ends up like messing with sorcery and magic. So the movie just decides to make him part of the origin in space, giving him a metal body and the ability to control electricity. It's fine. For sure, RIP to Julian McMahon since he's recently passed away. I think he puts enough of that menacing tone into his performance.
Lie from the face of a billion-dollar company. We need to keep this confidential.
Victor, if we could understand.
I don't want to understand it! This isn't one of your science projects. I just want to fix it fast.
I do hate though sometimes that a lot of the conflict between Doom and Reed is more focused on Sue, where that is for sure a case sometimes in the comics or other mediums. Doom is much more threatened by Reed's intelligence, and he more goes after Sue just to get at Reed, not necessarily because he wants Sue Storm. The film at least attempts to show off his intelligence when he like manipulates the thing into saying, hey, it's weird that, you know, Reed and Sue over there doing stuff behind your back while not trying to fix you up, buddy. I think it leads to a great confrontation between the Thing and Reed, where he's just like wrapping him around, putting him in this sort of chokehold to calm him down. And that's another thing that these movies did so brilliantly, is the use of their powers. It's not just moments where they're saving people on the bridge or fighting Doctor Doom at the end of the battle. The thing I think that gives this movie a lot of heart and charm is when the Fantastic Four are using their powers just for everyday things. This happens both in this movie and in the second movie, where they use it for the most mundane things of like Reed needing toilet paper when he's out of it on the toilet, stretching his face to shave, Johnny just going to sit down with a bag of popcorn and he can just pop it with the flame in his hand, who I think at one point even like uses it to cover up a zit, turn invisible if like someone opens the door on her, which I'm like, dang, there's a lot of shots of just almost naked Jessica Alba. Okay, maybe that doesn't age so well in these. But no, I love that. I think that's what makes them feel so relatable and just like normal people that are trying to be heroes, but they're really just, again, regular people. It honestly makes them the moments when they do use them for like a mission or battle. Heck, it's not even just the mundane stuff, but it's the montage of them using their abilities, testing them out, learning about them. That's some of that charming, fun stuff that is in origin movies and is why I don't want to get rid of an origin film. I think this Fantastic Four movie is one of the best origin movies made. I'm not even kidding. You have like the first Spider-Man movie, of course. Throw in Batman Begins, the first Iron Man, and honestly, Fantastic Four right there in the number 4 spot.
Say that again?
But all this leads into a big battle with Doctor Doom in the streets of New York, where again, it might not be the longest or biggest battle, but it is such a great showcase of all 4 of their abilities coming together and working to defeat Doctor Doom. It is honestly such a satisfying way for the movie to come to a close. My rewatch of this movie was great. Like, it's not a 10 out of 10, but dude, at least like 8, 7 out of 10. Like, I need to figure out why some people don't like it. Okay, so bunch of 1-star reviews from Letterboxd of Fantastic Four from 2005. First one says, yes, Marvel, keep sexualizing women. Okay, I'm not gonna defend that one. Another 1-star here. This movie sucks, but damn, the Fantastic Four are attractive. That should at least let you put 2 stars. Just saying. 1-star, Juiceless. At one point, Johnny Storm kills a whole boat full of innocent people and not really sure what's going on there. Remembers? He doesn't kill a bunch of innocent people. That is a trash boat. It's literally filled with just trash. And that's such a hype moment. The whole movie builds up to like Johnny learning to fly. I never realized this, but his first time saying flame on. Flame on! And actually flying is built up throughout the movie, and that was such a cool build-up. They did a good job of showing that Johnny might be this like reckless young guy. Sure, he's not a teenager, but when it comes to like protecting his sister or other people he cares about, he will stand up and also be there to help them. That's a great moment. Does not deserve 1 star. Another 1-star here. I didn't realize this was such a bad movie from rewatch. Jessica Alba was so over-sexualized. Okay, yes, they shouldn't have done that, but ignore it. 1-star here. This was worse than I remember. The story was bad, effects were bad, performances were bad, not a good adaptation at all. Dude, the effects hold up. What are y'all talking about? Am I alone? Let's just get on to the second movie. Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. So after the huge success that was the first Fantastic Four, we of course got a sequel entitled Rise of the Silver Surfer. I think this will be the one that most people are kindest to, but like with the last movie, they're gonna fixate on one minor detail that should just taint the entirety of this movie, which I'm not gonna let. This is another great entry, and I don't see a lot of the issues, man.
Who do you serve?
My people called it Galactus.
Okay, guys. Galactus fart cloud is an issue, but after having now saved the world and being seen as these celebrities, we see the Fantastic Four are trying to settle into their new lifestyle. Johnny Storm is of course loving it. His arc this time around though is that he's tired of just going from woman to woman and is honestly wanting to maybe get a little bit more serious and settle down. Reed and Sue are trying to get married, but their celebrity lifestyle prevents them from being able to do that. I really love the wedding sequence in this. Again, that's the part of these films I think they do so well, is balancing them trying to be real people while also balancing this celebrity lifestyle that they have been forced into. Not to mention the weddings where we also get the Stan Lee cameo. Good to see you again, Stan. But Reed and Sue trying to get married and balance their love life, it continues their arc from the last movie. We see now that Reed is a lot more confident in himself, where we are gifted this really cringe dance sequence. Again, Toby had one in Spider-Man 3. They're pulling off the charm of the Raimi movies, buddy. I honestly don't think it's that bad. It's honestly a little funny. But it is in these sequences that, you know, Reed gets called upon to a general that he used to work with that would always kind of push him around, telling him that, hey, there is this being going around, a Silver Surfer.
Evidently, this entity, this Silver Surfer,
causing craters in the planet, and they need Reed's help to try and stop this guy. And he's willing to, but he's not gonna let his work go above his love life with Sue, which is what he learned in the last movie. And so I kind of like that. Yes, he still ends up trying to help the general and not exactly balance that life, but it's the attempt that the character arcs from the last movie are still brought forward here. If anything, the only one that actually gets almost nothing to do this time around is Ben Grimm. I think they did all they wanted to in the first film with his story of being this monster and not being able to turn back, although he is able to but chooses not to. All right, but I do like this relationship he's given with the blind girlfriend he has from the comic books, and obviously that dynamic with Johnny hasn't changed.
So, seems like you and Alicia are doing well. Annoyingly so, in fact.
Yeah, I'm a lucky guy.
Question for you, though. How do you guys,
That's none of your business.
Okay, all right. I'm just concerned. Hate to wake up one morning and find out she was killed in a rock slide.
I'll show you a rock slide.
Just like finding a way to get Sue naked again in this movie. It's gonna be a lot of one-star reviews on that too, huh? But it's different this time. She's naked and on fire. I'd risk it. I'd risk third-degree burns, baby. I'm gonna get canceled. Stop. That leads us into one of the fun aspects of this movie, the power-changing abilities. So after we're treated to an absolutely amazing scene of Johnny chasing the Silver Surfer across New York City, which I think that is probably the most iconic part of this movie. It's the thing that is like stamped into comic book history. If we're making a list of awesome moments, you gotta fit in Johnny chasing the Silver Surfer. I think that's all been engraved in our brains, and yeah, it's a great sequence, and still I think backs up my thought that the visual effects in these films hold up. The Silver Surfer, dude, shiny, gorgeous, and dang, I like it. But because of Johnny's interaction with the Silver Surfer, anytime he touches a member of the team, he will switch powers with them. And I thought it did add something nice and new to the dynamic, specifically when it came to like the team going to the UK and Johnny just being such a hothead, not listening and almost causing the death of a bunch of people. It really shows the strength of Reed in that moment, of how quickly he was able to adapt to his new ability, fix the situation, and even yell at Johnny for what he did.
stay back before you get somebody killed.
Again, showing that he has become more of a confident leader. Anytime they do something cool with Reed, I'm just a sucker for. But really, that's also just how I feel when all the Fantastic Four are using their powers together at the same time. And you know, I'm joking around about how they keep sexualizing Sue, but I think they did a much better job in this movie with giving her more to do, coming across more independent and strong.
Sue, I am so sorry.
I'm not mad that you built the sensor. It was the right thing to do.
Oh, great.
I wasn't finished.
Okay, sorry. Please continue.
I always thought every character of the Fantastic Four bled when they used their powers, but in rewatch I realized it was only Sue who ever bleeds when using her powers, and it's because, yeah, she is the most powerful of the group. We find out that Dr. Doom is gonna be coming back, and Sue is very quick to let him know how quickly she could dispose of him.
How'd you come back?
It scares you, doesn't it? The things I can do.
Did you know I could create a force field inside someone's body and expand it until they explode?
And so I think having her bleed sometimes is just kind of that crutch to like not let her be so overpowered in the team, which I do like when they do that for characters. When they make them very powerful, but there's a limitation or rules that they have to set within. But back to the Doctor Doom thing. Although he was transported back to Latveria, it was the return of the Surfer that kind of woke him up, and he goes and finds him, where Doom is then able to get video footage of how the Silver Surfer's powers works, having his energy and abilities come from the board. And I guess this video footage is enough for the government to just trust Doctor Doom again, have him be part of the team. It's honestly the part of the film I don't love all that much, because that's really the only thing he brings to the team is, hey, I got this footage. Y'all gotta figure out, though, how to defeat him. And while I do think Doom is such a force and villain of the Fantastic Four that he should somehow be included in all these stories, I feel like there's maybe a better way they could have integrated him. Pausing on him, though, for just a second, when it comes to Norrin Radd, this Silver Surfer, all the sequences he gets when flying around or making missiles disappear into his board, just absolute Orifar moments. Again, just look outstanding, and the CGI on it holds up. I think where the movie kind of falls flat is in just using a lot of dialogue to explain his backstory. I didn't really know it then as a kid, but now as an adult, knowing Norrin Radd's origin of being a Herald of Galactus, giving up his love life with Shala Bal just so that his planet can be spared and he can just do what Galactus says, like, it's a heartbreaking tale, and we're just supposed to kind of get the impact of that with a one-on-one between him and Sue Storm. It's one of the reasons he protects Sue in this movie, is because she reminds him of Shala Bal, which, oh, dude, can you imagine what Silver Surfer Jessica Alba would look like? I'd give up everything for that too, Norrin Radd. All the comments gonna be 1 star. Chris sexualized Jessica Alba too much. Dang it. She beautiful, all right? Respectfully, Jessica. I hope she come back in Secret Wars, though. That'd be so cool. I wish there was a way for them to, like, show a little bit of that origin or do more with it, because I think the dialogue scenes just aren't enough for the audiences at the time to be okay with, wait, this dude's actually a good guy? What's going on here? Especially when you just made Galactus a fart cloud, and that's supposed to be his boss. Oh, look, we got the shadow of Galactus on Jupiter. Great Easter egg, Feige! You know Kevin Feige was pushing for that. It's like, guys, please, can we just get a shadow of Galactus' head? The fans aren't gonna like this. Before the Hat Man had so much power, dude. If Feige had all the power, we would have gotten Galactus back then. But I think there's still so many things to love. Like, we get the Fantastic Car, and it's a pretty comic-accurate version. They still nail it with the product placement. I know in the last movie, they had Johnny on the Flaming Whopper, and here the Fantastic Car is a Dodge. I know product placement sucks. I love cheesy, corny product placement like that. The Fantastic Four should do all the product placement for the MCU, because it would actually be a nice gag. But those scenes with the Fantastic Four and they split up and are flying across debris, awesome. I might not love the forced inclusion of Doctor Doom, but I will admit when he gets the Silver Surfer board and kind of gets upgraded, it's a cool threat. Doesn't get to last long, because then we get the moment of Johnny, who decides to use all the power of the Fantastic Four to fight Doom, which I think is a hype moment. Feels like it's their version of like a Super Scroll. It is pretty badass. I will just admit, Johnny cannot pull off the clobbering timeline.
It's clobbering time.
This sounds so bad coming from him. But it was a cool moment as a kid, dude. I was like, whoa, let just him be the hero, man. He's got all those abilities down. I think they flew too close to the sun when they wanted to fake us out that Jessica Alba's Invisible Woman was dying, when it was so obvious that somehow Silver Surfer would bring her back to life, and he does. So yeah, dude, these movies are not perfect. They have a ton of faults. In fact, let's look at some of the negatives. I just want to hear them. 1-star reviews. First one, they just couldn't resist making Jessica Alba get naked. Dude, can you imagine? They bring her back to Secret Wars and they find a way to do it again. 1 star? Yeah, let's team up with Doctor Doom. Surely nothing will go wrong. This movie needs to be lost media. Hey, I agree with you. I agree with you. Don't think this should deserve 1 star for that. Another 1 star. Why would they suddenly give her blue eyes? Why am I okay, yeah, no, you know what? Yes, I noticed that. I was like, Alba, why are your eyes so blue this time? It's a little distracting. No idea why they decided to do that this time around, but it's not worthy of just a 1 star just for that. 1 star. We'll never effing forget Galactus being a cloud. A cloud. Yes, I hate that too. I don't like it. It was a terrible choice. We got Galactus Shadow, no? I mean, I think the conversations of these movies would have been so different if Galactus had just been shown, man. People just hate for that thing. And naked Jessica Alba. I don't know. I'm obviously not acting like these movies are 10 out of 10. They're for sure not masterpieces, but I think these last two Fantastic Four films are solid 7 out of 10s, 3 stars out of 5. The way people talk about these like they're so godly awful and a disgrace to the comic book genre is huge exaggeration. Because let's talk about one that actually is. Fan-Four-Stick. So, unfortunately, because we entered an era in comic book movies that fun, campy, and cheesy was no longer cool, we moved into an era where everything had to be dark, serious, and just depressing. And it's true. I mean, we got Man of Steel, sad and depressing Superman. Batman, always sad and depressing, but he was a little bit more this time. Fox thought that'd be the way to kind of rejuvenate and separate themselves from the campy early 2000s Fantastic Four. And look, I'm not gonna lie, I think they had a cool idea in mind. They got director Josh Trank, who had just won big with Chronicle, a movie I absolutely love. And again, I remember when Josh Trank was announced for this movie, and knowing his Chronicle background, I thought, dude's gonna nail it. This movie's gonna be amazing. But there was a lot of behind the scene issues. Josh Trank's career got completely sidelined thanks to a lot of studio interference. I even remember the day before the movie was supposed to release in theaters, and Josh Trank put out a tweet saying something along the lines of, I made a really good movie and then the studio got in the way. I'm sorry. Which I think is something that ended up blacklisting him in Hollywood for a while. But what I meant by I think the movie had an interesting direction in what this film was trying to do is almost look at the Fantastic Four and what happened to them origin-wise into sort of a horror movie. The fact that you turn into this rock monster, or you wake up and you're just covered in flames, or you're stretching your body uncontrollably. The horror fan in me is like, that is kind of cool. And those moments where they are looked at as lab experiments tied down and Reed's calling out to his friends.
Hey, do you guys know where my friends are?
Can you lift your index finger?
Where's Ben? Did you see him? He was covered in the rocks.
Why won't you answer me?
Where are my friends?
I think there was something there, but everything else around this movie, like the Galactus fart cloud. So let's just start off with the opening of this movie. We kick things off with a young Reed Richards who is just acting like Sheldon, talking about wanting to make a teleportation machine, and the teacher just saying, shut up, kid.
Even if you could build the thing, which you can.
I've already built it. Well, I'm building it in my garage.
Is it next to your flying car? Thank you, Mr. Richards. This is all very interesting. The assignment was to pick a real career in the real world.
It's just to show us how different and smart Reed is, and then we meet little Ben Grimm, where I can't believe this is where they thought his catchphrase should come from. His older brother just bullying him.
Hey, Clobber inside. Come here. What do you think? You think you can talk to me like that? Huh? You think you can talk to me like that?
What? So, can you imagine if that's where other heroes got their catchphrases? Uncle Ben just smacking the crap out of Peter, saying, great power comes great responsibility, Peter. Take out the damn trash. Johnny's father grabbing his teddy bear, saying, you'll learn this lesson, son. Flame on! Clobbering time for the thing is a trauma response. Fascinating. But almost the exact way I felt and why I really love the early 2000s Fantastic Four movies is if I took all those reasons and made the complete opposite, I'd end up with Fan-Four-Stick. Because as great as some of these actors are individually, from Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, of course, Kate Mara and Jamie Bell, like, I've seen these actors in other projects and know they are good actors together as a group. No chemistry, nothing special. I think this is one of the worst ensemble cast members for a Fantastic Four movie. Don't even get me started on Toby Kibble's Doctor Doom. That's basically an introvert gamer that is one step away from being a Twitch streamer. Like, just the scene where he's introduced. Why did you think this is cool, exciting Doctor Doom? This to me is probably a perfect example of spending the whole movie doing your origin is such a bad idea, because honestly, we get halfway through the movie, halfway through the film to set up these characters, let you know their weird little dynamics and relationships, where they stand, the future rivalries that'll come about, and then they're hit with powers, their gifted abilities, and we actually don't even get the first action sequence of this movie, which is Reed fighting off a bunch of military soldiers, until an hour and 6 minutes into the movie. Up until then, it's just nothing but really sad, depressing dialogue.
Does it hurt?
I'm used to it.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to fix this.
You can't fix this. Nobody can.
And even when looking at the visual effects, this is a perfect example about why I was saying the early 2000s Fantastic Four do hold up visual effects wise, because the effects on Johnny Storm do not look as good as they did on Chris Evans. Kate Mara's Invisible Girl powers look so cliche. I get they're going for more of a blue look. Miles Teller's stretchy ability, this is the only time I genuinely do think it looks gross, but that was done on purpose because they're going for this horror vibe. All the times that people say Reed looked gross in the early 2000s movies, I don't believe. I think it looked just fine. And the thing, bro, where are your pants? You're rock hard in front of me, dude. Cover it! They do nothing creative with these characters, and if anything, they do so much to strip away what made them fun. I love their attempt of trying to bring in something like the Negative Zone that was never something that was brought up in the previous Fantastic Four movies as the place that they got their powers. And as cool as the horror vibe was for a lot of those moments, especially when Reed is trying to get to Ben and he sees his leg is all stretched out. Good, but everything else that made the Fantastic Four fun and exciting stripped away. The majority of this movie is them as lab rats, a whole year stuck in a facility being tested and forced to do missions. There's literally a scene where the Thing's kill count is on TV, and I guess he's just rewatching it on his free time. The fact that the Thing has 43 confirmed kills. When bro said clobbering time, he meant it. They're just straight up murderers. There's no celebrity aspect, which really gives nothing to do for Michael B. Jordan's Johnny Storm. I have no problem with Johnny Storm being black and the whole idea that, oh, there's adopted siblings, it can work. And Michael B. Jordan would have been perfect for a hothead celebrity Johnny Storm, but the movie has no room for that type of storyline. I even hate the fact that every time Johnny has to go flame on, he has to turn it on via his suit like he's some sort of stove. Seriously, I never noticed that the first time I watch it. If you decide to torture yourself and watch this movie again, every time Johnny needs to power up, he's turning his little stove on. Horrendous, ugly looking suits. Oh, Chris, but they have the 4 right there on Michael B. Jordan, and if you see the layout of Reed, it actually makes an F. Yeah, well, that F stands for yeah! Language. I think the other thing is a lot of this movie just feels like it's just going through the motions without having a real plot or story to get them through it. Because yeah, they're trying to build this machine to go to another dimension so they can siphon off resources for their planet on Earth. All the while, we're seeing that Victor Von Doom that gets cleverly name dropped by Sue.
New energy, resources. It's a whole new world.
Which can help save this one.
Not that it deserves to be saved. The people running the Earth are the same ones running it into the ground, so maybe it deserves what it's got coming to it.
Dr. Doom over here.
Hates humanity, thinks we don't deserve a second chance, and so when he ends up on that planet, becomes Dr. Doom through his suit being infused with his body and trapped there for an entire year, he considers that place his home. And oh god, the design of Dr. Doom. Somebody lock somebody up. Arrest the person that thought this was a good Dr. Doom design. Arrest the person that gave him that really weird bulgy robe that does not look menacing at all. Yes, he has a cool scene where he comes in and just starts killing people left and right, and that ends up being kind of the thing that brings everybody together to have this big final battle with a beam shooting up in the sky. Oh god, you remember when a lot of early movies had beams shooting up in the sky for no reason? Ghostbusters 2016, Amazing Spider-Man, oh, and due to countless others. Beam in the sky was almost a death sentence for big movies back then. I know the whole time jump thing that a lot of people take issue with is mainly due to reshoots, and you can tell by just looking at Sue Storm in certain scenes where her hair is naturally dyed blonde and other scenes where she's obviously wearing a wig. But it's still insane the way this movie happened. Like, I'm jumping around because I am so befuddled by this movie, but even the way Ben Grimm gets his powers as just being somebody that Reed desperately wanted to be part of the mission, although he was never part of the actual team building the teleportation device. I know he was always helping Reed and believed in him since he was a kid, but I feel like there's so much easier ways you could have had Ben as part of the team. He didn't have to be one of the scientists. He could have been a mechanic. Like, the dude's family owned like this auto landfill. Why don't you just say he was an engineer or mechanic working on the machine and have him there? There's a weird excuse for Reed to be like, hey, you need to turn into the Thing, so I need you here ASAP, buddy. And Sue doesn't even go to the negative zone, but because she gets hit with the Galactus blue fart bubble, she ends up getting invisible powers. Like, this movie's such a mess. I did like, though, that Reed was able to change his face using his stretchy powers. That definitely looked uncanny and creepy, but kind of cool. Kind of cool. Chad Reed face is still the best, though. It's honestly such a horrible way to adapt the Fantastic Four. It's interesting to look at and see where they were maybe going, but no, there's a clear reason they never continued on, why they had to stop after this. I even just hate the ending of the movie where they just agree to be pawns for the military. Sure, they make this whole thing of like, well, you work for us and we need our own facility, and it leads to the most iconic line of the movie.
I think that the four of us should have a name.
Why would we need a name?
Because we're a team now, and there's four of us, so we should come up with a name for it.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
Say that again?
He said it! He said it!
And while that scene is definitely funny and it's led to a lot of great memes, you know what I hate about that scene? In that same scene, we get something that the movie just didn't have room for, so they just threw it in last minute, and that's Johnny being mean to Ben.
How about two guys, a girl, and the thing that nobody wanted? Hey, we both know that you could take him.
The entirety of the movie, those two don't have a relationship. They're not chummy with each other. All that Johnny knows is that this poor guy ended up getting the worst power. I'm just gonna randomly be mean to him. Just because it's a thing in the comics, but it's not set up in this. Oh, dude, so horrible. Now, for this one, I need to look up 5-star reviews. I need to see who are the Fan 4-stick truthers. All right, 5-star Fan 4-stick reviews. Let's see if you turn me into a believer. 5 stars, was gonna give it 2 stars, but say that again? Saved it. Oh, the memes. Y'all hate Galactus Fart Cloud, but one little meme in line will give a movie 5 stars. I hate y'all. 5-star. I have so much respect for these characters now. I can officially say Doctor Doom is my favorite Marvel bad guy. This version of Doom is your favorite Marvel bad guy. Probably because Dr. Doom's a Twitch streamer in this one, so this guy's definitely gifting subs to some streamer out there. Another 5-star review says, I gotta say, it's fantastic. Say that again? Cinema. All the 5-star reviews are people just memeing. It's not even actually anyone who genuinely likes this movie. Another one. Wait, say that again. I gotta say, it's fantastic. Oh my god, all these are just people memeing. Nobody truly likes this movie. One person did at least say, 5 stars, many people hated this movie, but I for one loved it. It captured the essence of the Fantastic Four perfectly in my eyes, and I will die on that hill. This movie was fantastic. That's a meme one again. Ah! Nobody is serious anymore. All this to say, the Fantastic Four has had a rocky journey thus far, and we're about to get a brand new one that I think is equally exciting, but it's nice to see what other interpretations do, what will be different. And when this multiverse crazy saga is over, will any of these guys make an appearance again? Some of them already have, actually. I hope others do too, even if it is just for another meme. Let me know what you guys thought about these Fantastic Four movies, your favorite, your least favorite one. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, it's fantastic. Say that again.